The Amazon Basics drawing set comes with lots of great drawing tools. We have some standard drawing pencils in different hardnesses. We have some graphite sticks. We have some charcoal pencils. We have a kneaded eraser. We have a rubber eraser, a sharpener, and or Titilian or a blending stump. Let's check out some of these tools. Let's check out our pencils first. So in our pencils we have HB, which is closest to our regular old number 2 pencil, and then we have some B and H pencils. We have H and B right on either side of it. 2B, 3B, and one. It appears like we have one that is unmarked. We'll have to check that one out. See what that one is. So like I said, our HB pencil is just like our regular drawing pencil. So I can have a pretty dark line, not a super dark line, and then get nice and light with that pencil. Our H is pretty similar. But I can get a little bit darker lines with that. A little bit darker shading, it's a little bit softer. Or a little bit harder, I mean, so I can have a little bit more control over that when it gets darker. My B's are going to be even softer, so I've got my B here. I can already tell it's getting much darker, much more black instead of gray. And even when I fade it out, it's more of a black fade than a gray fade. My 2B is even softer. And these are nice to use in combination with each other on a drawing. So if I wanted to draw my sketch with HB, and then if I knew I need some areas that are much darker, or some area I needed a little more control with my lights and darks, I would go back and color. And this is my 3B, so this is going to be my softest pencil in the set. Very easy to get a nice dark line. And then fade it up. I will be able to tell that softer lead will come off on my hand as well. If I want to try to fade these out even more, I can either use my blending stump, or I can use my finger or a tissue. Let's check out this pencil that was unmarked. I assume this pencil is in the H range. It's assumed it seems to be much harder. those H pencils would also be better for some detail as well. If we check out our erasers with our kneaded eraser, this is moldable, which is very nice. It's kind of like clay in your hands. So you can shape it, and this is really nice to pick up some of that shading that's kind of been worked down into your paper. So you can see it picks up that shading very well. I can see that lead on my eraser, but another nice thing you can do is knead it into itself, and it will make a nice new clean eraser for you. Another awesome thing I really like about this is that you can knead it into a nice fine point if you just need to erase just a tiny little bit. One more thing I like to do is if I just need to lighten an area, I like to dab at it. And instead of erasing the entire thing, sometimes you can just lighten up by picking up just a little bit of graphite at a time. This is also perfect for on-the-go situations because it does not leave any eraser dust. Or things like this where if you wipe off eraser dust, you're going to be smudging it, which we would not want to do. We also have a white rubber eraser in here, synthetic rubber eraser. These are also very nice. They're going to work a little bit differently for us though. This will leave some eraser dust and it will be harder to lighten up areas, but it does erase very well. Let's check out our charcoal and graphite sticks next. So here we have some charcoal pencils. We have soft, hard, and medium. Let's check out our sharpener to get these ready. I'm gonna be careful of the protected end and make sure I'm sharpening the open end. Awesome. So this is the hard charcoal. So charcoal is nice because it's a lot softer than pencil and it's a lot easier to blend and smudge with. It also has some nice pure black lines. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw a quick little leaf. I'm drawing with the hard charcoal so that it doesn't, my pencil lines don't get all smudgy very quickly on me. I will notice a little bit of a tooth or like a texture when I'm drawing with this because it is actually a branch that has been burned to create the charcoal in there, even though it looks like a pencil. And with charcoal I can get some super duper dark. I can also use my blending stuff or my tortillon to blend this. This will give me some really dark grays and will give me a little bit more of a softer texture than just my pencil lines did. And you can see that charcoal leaves a lot of material on the paper and is very easy to blend. I can move that charcoal to kind of fill in my whole entire leaf, even though I only had some really simple lines. I can also, this is much darker, but I can erase it. Won't be able to erase it all the way, but I will be able to lighten it up quite a bit. So you can still see like a ghost of my line there, but I was able to lighten it up quite a bit. So those are our charcoal pencils. Let's check out our graphite sticks. So we have a soft and hard, and then we have some red, like sometimes these are called Conte crayons. So for these, you'll notice they're very messy. They're already all over my fingers. So these are just for like some bigger drawings and they're kind of nice. I can have a nice point. I can have like a chunkier line. I can have a line that changes with my motion. So these are a lot more gestural and a lot kind of fun to play with because they're a lot different than our pencils, but kind of stay the same. Another thing I like to do with these is I like to like black out like a large area. So I might create like a background with this. Very quickly, which is awesome. You can still see my lines in the background there, but that's okay. That was my soft one. My hard one will be a lot lighter because it's harder. I can also create lines with this as well. You can see they're also lighter and they create kind of different lines when I create, even on the side. And then I can either smudge that with my finger or with my tortillon as well for a large area of color. And sometimes I'll even come back into this and draw out some areas with my eraser. So kind of working with that negative space that we've been talking about. It creates a little bit of a different surface to work with. And then we also have our kind of terracotta color sticks, our Conte crayons here, which will create kind of the same kind of lines, and you can also create a nice kind of terracotta color background with these as well. I actually really like to sometimes start my drawings for paintings with these. So those are really interesting to work with that way, but also this is nice just to do some like gestural drawing. So for example, I have a lamp in front of me, so for a quick kind of figure study or just quick kind of sketching, these are nice because you work a lot more loosely with these, and like we talked about before, they work a little differently than a pencil, and they're a little bit more versatile because I can fill in large areas with them, I can do thin lines, I can do thick lines. They encourage me to be kind of loose because I can't really, like, it's not super duper easy to erase with them. So these are really fun to experiment with, but they're used, I find them used a lot more for like sketching or planning, like the first step of a drawing. I also sometimes like to layer these two together, so after I've found the first steps of the drawing, I like to kind of define those lines. So that way I can kind of see like my sketching steps and like my defining steps, which I think is very interesting. Makes me think of how illustrators will start with red or blue first, and then they will define their lines later. I hope you have a great time experimenting with your brand new tools.